I'm Jessica Ryan Keeney. I am a family law attorney. I've been a family law attorney since December of 2009 when I got sworn in to the California bar. I'm licensed to practice in the state of California. I'm also the Department of Child Support Services attorney for two small rural California counties, and I am a municipal law attorney. Today, I'm going to walk through how to fill out an income and expense declaration. Now, please know that this is not legal advice. This is for educational purposes only. Unfortunately, if you still have some legal questions about how to fill out your income and expense declaration, you're going to need to talk to an attorney about your situation specifically. That said, if you have questions, you can put them in the comments below and I will go through, and I can't speak to your situation specifically, but I can answer some general questions. But to figure out if they apply to your situation, you're going to need to find an attorney who can evaluate your situation and your questions. Again, this is for educational purposes only, but the two counties that I practice in most, it can be kind of tough to get in to see the family law facilitator or the self-help attorney quickly. And so I'm hoping that these videos will help people fill out their income and expense declaration a little bit more quickly. I'm going to do this in sections. So I'm going to do, there are 4 pages to the income and expense declaration, and I'm going to do each page as one separate video so that you don't have to sit through a really long, really boring video about how to fill out this form, because I'm sorry, I just don't know how to make this topic interesting. It's just not, unless you're weird. Okay, and you might be wondering where you can get a copy of this form. It's the FL 150, and I will have a link in the description below so that you can get a free copy of the form online and print it. You may also be able to get a free copy at your local courthouse, but you can definitely go online and print it. So go look in the description. There will be good information. We have here page 1 of an income and expense declaration. You can access the digital copy of this form online, and you can actually fill it out online so that it's nice and neat and typed. I'm going to fill this out by hand because I haven't played with the screen capture software yet, and I just want to get this done as quickly as possible. So I'm supposed to have my last 2 months worth of pay stubs, or the last 2 months worth of pay stubs for my client, but I don't. And the pay stubs I have are kind of old. We're just going to overlook that for the purpose of this exercise. I did a video explaining what I really want, and what I really want is your most recent pay stub and the pay stub, the first pay stub of the year, or the first pay stub that you received at this job if you just started the job within the last year. Sometimes I'd like 12 months worth of pay stubs so that I can see what kind of fluctuation. That's usually if I'm representing a private client, not so much with the Department of Child Support Services. Anyway, for this one, I've got the 2 most recent pay stubs that I had access to for this participant. And by the way, this is, don't worry, I'm not like using someone's pay stub that I'm not allowed to. Anyway, and those pay stubs are for pay periods ending 7/12/19, 6/28/19. So that's older than I like to see on a pay stub. If this were an actual case I were working on, a private case, I would tell my client to go to HR and find more recent pay stubs. And then the first pay stub I could get from the year was for 1/11/19. And I can see by looking at it, see if I can zoom this in, that this is not the first pay stub of the year for this person. But I know enough about this hypothetical situation that we can make this work. and you probably know enough about your situation that you can make it work. So it's really important to fill out all the sections. I'm going to fill this out as though it's for a self-represented party. So this part up here I call the title block, and I'm sorry that the focus keeps zooming in and out. I don't know how to stop that. Anybody who knows how to stop that, tell me in the description down or in the comments down below. Okay, so I'm going to fill this out as though it's for me. Sort of. I'm not actually going to give you all of my information. Okay, we're going to say it's for Jessica Smith. As you know, that's not my name, but we're going to say it is. And we're going to say that Jessica Smith is at P.O. Box 234 in some city, California. And we're going to say that the zip code is 98765. Okay, so you're going to fill this out with your actual information. And you got to know that this information is going to go in the court's file, which might be public record, and it's going to go to opposing party. So assume that the court's file is going to be public record. Assume that anyone from the public could get this information and fill it out accordingly. And if there's a domestic violence situation and the other party can't have your address, there are some remedies available to you, but it behooves you to put an address here where the court and the other party can contact you if they need to. Okay, I'll do another video on what your options are some other time. So let's see. We'll say the phone number is 916-283-4545. Don't go calling that number. I have no clue who this number that is. I just made that up. Okay. And then if you have an email address, put your email address. In this situation, Jessica Smith is self-represented. So we put in pro per, by the way, okay. By the way, I spell terribly, so sorry if I mess something up. I got my white out here. Okay, and we got to fill out the case number. You're going to fill out your real case number. If you don't fill out your real case number, or you fill out the wrong case number, this might make it to the wrong file, and the court may not have it when they need it. So this is FS for family support. Not every one of these is going to go in a family support case, and not every court has this numbering system. We're going to say that in this court, they number their cases according to the year they're opened. So 19, and then the number of case, where they number the cases consecutively throughout the year. So let's say that this case was the 23rd case opened in 2019. Okay, so Superior Court for the county of, I'm going to say this is for some county. You're going to put the real county name in here. And then you're going to put the street address of the courthouse and the mailing address of the courthouse and the city, state, and zip code of the courthouse. And some courthouses have branch names. So in this case, some county may actually be the petitioner, particularly if this was a case that was opened up by the Department of Child Support Services. And the petitioner and respondent are always going to be the same throughout the entire case. So if the local Department of Child Support Services opened up this case, then they're going to be the petitioner. And usually the obligor, that's the party who's ordered to pay support, is going to be the respondent. So we're going to call the respondent, in this case, father. We're going to call Jessica Smith mother. You're not going to identify them as mother and father on your on your income and expense declaration. You know what? Let's say in this case that father's name is Todd Smith. Sorry if I mess that up later. I might forget that his name is Todd. Okay, and then now the other parent is usually the obligee. In this case, it's Jessica Smith. Okay, so Jessica Smith, so we filled out the title block. That's what I call this. I don't know that everyone else calls it the title block, but I used to work at a blueprint shop, and we called the portion of the blueprints and the plans that had all of the information for the job the title block. Okay, so in this hypothetical, Jessica Smith is an attorney, and she works for the city of in some county, and we're going to put her employer's address. And I'm not putting down a real address here, but you are going to put down the real address. Again, unless there's a domestic violence situation. This assumes there's no domestic violence, because if there is a restraining order or a domestic violence concern, you might not have to put down all this information. Okay, we're going to put down the employer's phone number. Anytime I put an asterisk, that's a placeholder for information. Okay, here it asks for your occupation. Well, in this situation, Jessica is an attorney. And the date she started her job is going to be 01, well, her job with some city anyway, 01/01/2018. Okay, her job hasn't ended. So I'm going to put NA there so that everybody knows her job hasn't ended. Now, you're going to look at your pay stubs, and you're going to figure out about how many hours you work on average. And this one, I'm going to have to do some calculation to figure out about how many hours Jessica works on average. Now, what I could do is I could go to the Google time and date calculator, which I actually think I'm going to do. And I'm going to enter into the time and date calculator the first date of the year, and I'm going to enter the ending pay period, and I'm going to figure out how many weeks that is, and then I'm going to divide that by the number of hours on the year to date section, and that's going to tell me on average how many hours per week Jessica works. And I will put a link to the Google calculator in the description. I'm going to go off camera and figure that out. And then I'll come back on camera and show you how I did the math. I went to the time date calculator and I select, and again, the link for that's going to be in the description below. I selected duration between two dates, and then I put in the start date of 12/29/18 because that's the start date of the first pay period of the year, which seems a little bit odd because it's in the prior year, but the hours for these dates are going to show up on the first pay stub of the year. And I can tell that because I know that in this city, people get paid every 2 weeks and the pay period ends 1/11/19. So I'm able to pull up a calendar and I'm able to see what the start date of the first pay period of the year was. And if you're having trouble following this, I mean, you can't depend on the DCSS attorney or opposing counsel or the judge to get it right, because they don't have as much time to spend with this as you do. But, you know, if you're having troubles making heads or tails of how to figure out the start date of the pay period, it's not necessarily the end of the world. Let the judge know, let the DCSS attorney know, or your caseworker. They might be able to help you figure that out. Also, if I would have put January 1st as the start date, it wouldn't throw off my totals a whole lot. It'd be off a little, but not a whole lot. So it wouldn't be the end of the world. Okay, so I can see by looking at my pay stub here, the most recent one, that the pay period, that the most recent pay period ending is 7/12/19. Wants to go in and out of focus. Sorry, you'll have to take my word for it. So I entered that as the end date. And then I clicked include end date in calculation. And then I find that the pay stub, my most recent pay stub here, covers 28 weeks. And so the year-to-date hours on the most recent pay stub are 266.9 hours. So I divide 266.9 hours by 28 weeks, and I find out that this person works an average of 9.53 hours per week. So we're going to enter that here. 9.53 hours per week on average. This person's an attorney. She gets paid $125 an hour. So we're going to check the per hour box. Now, a lot of times when I see somebody like this who's working so few hours a week, I want to know, why are they working so few hours a week? Is this a parent who's not fully employed because they don't need to be, because they don't want to be, because they're spending some time at home with their child? Or does this parent have some other income? So we'll cover other income on another video, but for purposes of this exercise, we're just going to say that this parent, Jessica, only works an average of 9.53 hours per week. Okay, we're going to say that Jessica is 30 and she's an attorney. So yeah, she's completed high school or the equivalent. She's also completed 4 years of college. And we need to list the degrees obtained. So she's got an associate's degree, and she's got a bachelor's degree in economics. And the number of years of graduate school. Well, she went to a 4-year law school, and she got a Juris Doctorate. We're going to say JD. And she does have a professional or occupational license. She's licensed to practice law in the state of California. So we're going to say California bar license. Okay, and we're going to say that she's done her 2019 taxes. She does married filing. Oh no, she did married filing jointly. And if you're going to white something out or cross something out, you really should initial it. Okay, so married filing jointly, and it wants you to name the person. You can name the person, or in this case, I'm just going to write spouse. And it's a new spouse. Okay, but you might not be married filing jointly. You might be single or head of household or married filing separately. Okay, she files tax return in California. Where I'm at, though, it's not uncommon for people to file tax returns in other states. So we're pretty close to Nevada, and we're pretty close to Oregon, so it's not uncommon for us to see people who file taxes in those other states. Some parts of the state are close to Nevada, or I'm sorry, Arizona. So be cognizant of that when you're filling it out. Okay, other party's income. I estimate the gross monthly income before taxes of the other party in this case to be. Now, sometimes you don't know. Sometimes you have an idea. If you don't know, you can write unknown. If you have an idea, write down what you think it is. In this case, I'll say unknown. And then if you attach any other pages, they want you to state how many. You're going to date here, print your name, sign here. My next video will cover page 2 of the income and expense declaration. But I want to hurry up and get this posted so that people can at least start filling out page 1. I may not be able to film how to fill out the other pages until next week. Sorry for the delay. At least you can get started. A lot of people feel overwhelmed by filling out financial documents for their family law case. And what I usually tell them is just do one section at a time or do one page at a time. And there might be some things that you don't have the answer to. Fill it out to the best of your knowledge. And if you're not certain of the answer, and you're filling it out to the best of your knowledge, a particular area, you might want to put a star or something and then note at the bottom a little star, and that the star means best of my knowledge. Some of you might actually have an attorney representing you, and your attorney might have given you a blank income and expense declaration to fill out, and you might be wondering, why am I paying my attorney when they gave me this blank document to fill out? Well, let me tell you something about our fictitious participant here. $125 an hour is a decent rate for an attorney who's an employee, but you're likely paying your attorney a lot more. And the more you can fill out on your income and expense declaration, the less time it's going to take your attorney to fill out your documents and the less money it's going to cost you. So it's well worth all the time you can put into it. Here's something else. If you fill this document out online, you might actually be able to save it in such a way that you can send the filled out document to your attorney. So if your attorney needs to make any adjustments, they might just be able to go in and make those adjustments on the document. Now, here's something I want you to be aware of. If you fill this out online and you save it, because there is a save function in the link that I'm going to post in the description, that doesn't mean that what you filled out is going to be there the next time you go see your document. So please, please, please make sure that you print a hard copy. Save the digital file, print a hard copy so that you don't lose your hard work. Okay, well, this is how you fill out page 1. Page 1 was fairly simple. We'll get into the more fun stuff in the subsequent pages. So stay on the lookout. Thank you for watching.